Welcome back to Designed on Bernama Radio24. I'm Vivian Toh, and earlier on we had Bon Zainal, Raj Aria and Puan Futom talking passionately about the state of the fashion industry in Malaysia. Raj talked about how important networking is. Bon talked about how being very outspoken is important to the career of a fashion designer. Puan also talked about a very interesting aspect from the government point of view. Now, I have a question that I want to address to the three of you. Now, earlier on, you mentioned that fundamentals, there are fundamentals that are important for design. Now, what are the fundamentals? Yes, Puan Futom?
Okay, talking about fundamentals, I think the first thing that we want to see is whether the people who wants to study design, who are passionate about design, passion alone, yes, it's good for them to kickstart it, but we want to also look at the place where people can go and study design, from scratch, and what other opportunities, or whether they have choices to choose which school to go to study design. And each school will want to show why students should come to their universities or colleges to study design. We want to make sure that students are not shortchanged. When they go to study design, they will be really taught the curriculum, the syllabus, and at the end of the day, we want to know that these students can actually go out there and do their practical in industry, who respect the students that is being produced by the universities and not just use them as cheap labor. Mm-hmm. I think we want to be very careful looking at all the various higher learning institutes. That's what we are concerned about. I think that for the time being, this is what I'm quite concerned about.
Okay. Now, we are on the topic of fashion, and definitely when we talk about training, well, fashion designers get their training very differently, and it's really entirely what happens is backstage. Now, Bon, actually, what happens in the backstage?
Okay, just to add up, I also lecture fashion marketing in some various colleges in this country and all that. Let's talk about backstaging. Okay, imagine for us to prepare just for that 5-minute runaway show, took us about a few months to do it. And then again, the perception of people going to fashion education or fashion industry, it's all about glamour. Okay, and which is not basically. In fact, to me, glamour is tiring. Okay, and again, yes, I agree with Puan Futom. We have to get a proper training ground. Yeah? Proper training ground for fashion student, in which I think the authorities should look into this to get a proper trainers, a proper guideline, and then even a proper base. Because again, the perception here in this kind of fashion is about glamour. Even parents, okay, when they send their son or their daughters to college, to a fashion college, in their mind it's like, oh, my son going to be a fashion designer. Oh, I want to be seen in a magazine and blah blah blah, so on. To me, I mean, it's not just that. Even like I always, being heading one of fashion association in this country, sometimes I dare some of my designers, when you put in your collection on the runway, I mean, I want to see half of it to sell. Like I can proudly say even on my personal experience, when I put in say 10-15 collection, after the show, half of it sold. That is fashion.
Can you tell us a bit more about your association that you are now?
Well, I'm heading one of the association in this country, which is called BDA. Bumiputera Designers Association, and we have a few more. We have MODA, Malaysia Official Design Association, and we have IFF, which is International Islamic Fashion Association, and we do have the other one is YODA, Young Designer Association. This, we are active. These people are active, but then again, at times we need a proper guideline. Even for my recent interview with other media and all that, even we asking ourselves in which ministry that we are fall onto and all that. We didn't know that, so we need that. We need the government to look into this. Then we can go further.
Puan, you are smiling now. Perhaps you have some perspective to it. So where does fashion industry fall?
It's like we have parents, basically, you know what I mean?
Well, it's sometimes I'm so sorry I have to say this. Sometimes we don't even know which ministry we should fall in, because of the most colorful industry, I think, is when you mention design. We're not talking only about fashion design, we're talking about industrial design, graphic design, interior design and all. And if you want to put it in any one industry, I think it's quite a bit of headache to actually pinpoint which is the best ministry that we should fall into. And I suppose the challenge goes on. We need to look at it, but MRM itself, Majlis Rekabentuk Malaysia itself, when it was set up way back in 1993, we are under the Ministry of Science Technology. Then it was Environment. Now it's Ministry Science and Technology in Innovation, which is MOSTI. So we are there now, bond. So because MRM, we want, of course, we need to work with all walks of design fraternity. So I'm so sorry, Bond, you're stuck with us in MOSTI at the moment. But I think it's interesting to look again which ministry best suit what kind of design fraternity. But hopefully, for us to be strong, I think design need to come in as a collective group.
While we wait for the ministries to sort things out, on the ground, there are many people, fashion designers. Let's talk about fashion designers. They are really moving forward in their business or whatever they are doing. But Puan, you were telling us you mentioned 4 fashion design associations out there. Yeah. Why are there so many associations as opposed to 1?
Well, basically, it's come from, like, for instance, like on my side, it's more towards, fashion. We have, let me put it this way. I want to add up what Futom said. I want to fashion. Fashion, there's money involved, which involve Ministry of the Keuangan. Finance. Yeah. There's science into fashion as well. Okay. There's creative side, and there's also in terms of community. Right. You know what I mean? So fashion involves everything. So when it comes to there's so many. When you ask me about association, because there's a lot of us here in this country. I think we have thousands of us. So to handle to handle one, it's not easy, because one thing, fashion people, they are very sensitive. They work from the heart, So it takes certain people, it takes certain individuals to handle certain things. But then again, even though we are separated, but we are combined together as a whole. You know what I mean? So these are the things. It sounds silly, but this how it works basically. So even IFF is focused more on towards Muslimah fashion, whereas YDA Yoda is more to the young designers, Moda, which is Moda is the longest. They start way back, I think nearly about 30 years ago. So like BDA is more towards the Malays. But even so, but again, we still combine. I can share it. Recently, we have a trip. We sent a few trips combined or 4 sessions. We went to Philippines, Manila, to attend for their fashion event there. Hey, the response was like awesome. We got buyers coming in. We got a response. So these are so meant to say, like, even though we are separated, we are together as a whole. You know.
What makes it interesting to have crossovers from one country and another?
Again, exchange ideas, exploring new markets, and all that, and then of course, getting to know, like again, fashion. I mean, to me, even we are here. I mean, 6 of us here. Everybody here is fashion, you know. So, so we need to be have to broaden our horizon throughout. I mean, not just in the Asia region. I mean throughout. I mean, to me, the whole world basically. Yeah.
Puan, so fashion industry actually really falls under the umbrella of MRM as well, do you think?
Yes.
It is now.
Yes, it is now.
Great. So then, well, Raj, you probably have been in contact with fashion designers. So how did they involve? How did you and Bond get together?
Well, it's very interesting. As we all know, fashion, entertainment, media all overlaps a great deal, and the scene is very small. You know, you normally see the usual suspects, and of course, as we all say, networking, building relationships, communication skills, interpersonal skills is so crucial whenever you involve whatever. Not necessarily just in this industry, in any industry as well. So, of course, once you build that relationship, then you will talk about taking it to the next level. And of course, he is from the fashion line, I'm from the media, TV, entertainment side. So there is considerable overlap. So for me, it's also very important to look the part in this industry because it's a very visual industry as well. So attending events, functions, you have to create that right kind of image, that right kind of brand, which is so crucial in terms of positioning yourself out there. So like I mentioned earlier, externally and internally has to be congruent at the end of the day. And with regards to Bond's fashion wear, this is something I have to say. Sometimes we have this perception that it needs to be a foreign brand. It has to be an American brand, a European brand. People are very brand conscious, especially in Asia. I think we have to change that misconception that sometimes even made in Malaysia could be up there with the best. In fact, if you were to wear some of the designs which we have abroad, they'll be thinking, is it from some famous or well-known fashion label? But actually, no, it's from a particular label in Malaysia. And I think they'll be quite surprised to hear that. So sometimes we have to move away from that and just look at it in its own right. If it looks good, stop there. Why need to worry about where it's from and what not? If the quality is there, the design is there, the cut is there, if you look good, fantastic. And that should basically impress anyone who wants.
Media and fashion seem to connect pretty much very well because, well, the media people will have to look good. They have to look good, and fashion design also have to depend or count on the media to also for cross collaboration, so both win. Now, Raj, so do you think the media is promoting the fashion industry in the right way, or is it promoting enough?
Very, very good question. Now, we all know media exists by creating exposure, awareness, information, news. Now, the difficulty we're facing in Malaysia is, as Bond mentioned just now, when you think of fashion, it's all about glam. It's all about hype. It's all about the razzmatazz. But they don't realize is that fashion is actually big business, especially overseas. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry out there. And it is up there with the biggest and the best. But the misconception in Malaysia, it's all just like fun. You see fashion runway, glam, excitement, but that's it. But we have to change that perception whereby we can actually grow this, and that's where the government hopefully will play a part in terms of growing this industry, looking in terms from dollars and cents, not just merely from the hype, not just looking in terms of the positioning and the external bits about it. So if we can take it to the next level, change the media's perception with the involvement of the government, in fact, with the involvement of all the stakeholders at the end of the day, then who knows? We don't even have to look in terms of Malaysia. We can look at Southeast Asia, Asia, and the world. I mean, one classic example, Jimmy Choo. He's born and bred Malaysian, and look at his shoes. That's why his shoes are known worldwide. Why should we just stop at shoes? Why not men's fashion? Why not women's fashion? Why can't we be up there with the best of them around the world?
We're talking about media perception. Media creates things that influence how people view things. And now, Puan, you're talking about fashion it comes from the heart. It's not about the glam. But the media is projecting it as something that's glam. do you feel? Well, how do you feel about it? You come from an area that is all about the heart, but media is talking about the glam.
Okay, let me add up a bit what Raj. Fashion isn't just media. I mean, everybody says fashion. Okay, if you notice, even on TV, even what we are now, it's all fashion. What we are wearing, what we are communicating, all that. Okay, and then when you talk about what I'm trying to say, I mean, creative people, they are sensitive. You know, they want the some sort like it's not pampered, but being taken care of. You know, so again, we have to. Let's talk about designing. When I design something, it takes me some time to not just simply just scribble something. It must be something which is something that represent. You know, who gonna wear my creation? Is it gonna be on TV? Is it some celebrity gonna wear it? For what occasion? Like I always say, when to wear, what to wear, how to wear, who to wear, and the other one is like how much. So it's a whole thing. You know, in fact, now what we are here in this room, it's all fashion. You know, from the tudung we are wearing, from Futom wearing, from the jacket, from the blouse, it's all about fashion basically.
Oh, now hijab is really in.
It is now.
So popular
That's
now.
the thing. Yes, it's fashion. Hijab, Muslimah, everything is about fashion. What we do, even the glasses you're wearing now is fashion basically. You know. So hey, come on, look into this deeply now. You know.
So is the media capturing the essence, Raj?
Not as well as it could, because like end of the day, look, the thing about media, to be honest, is about sensationalism. At the end of the day, you want something razzmatazz, you want something hot, exciting, then people will read. If it's dull, boring, monotonous, then people maybe get turned off, or they may not be as as receptive to the idea. Now we know with regards to fashion, it's something which actually goes along the line, but we should look beyond that at the end of the day as well. So yeah, there's still room for improvement. Let's put it that way.
I still can't get away from the idea that Bond said fashion is from the heart. Then the media say you need razzmatazz and things like that. So then, well, now Bond, you sometimes if you have to work with the media, then you have to create something that can be commercialized or become a popular culture. Then how does it work for you?
Well, again, go back to the heart. When something which is being hyped, for instance, like when I design something, suddenly media put it, to the hype level or that. Hey, I think the heart's going to be happy. You know what I mean? So from there, you create awareness, you create demand, you create what I call this, people will compliment you and all that. So it goes back. So that's what I mean from the heart, because to create something, it's not just scribble here and there. You know, it takes guts. You know, like for instance, you see like now now there's a lot of things going on in terms of TV. There's awards program, even there's some TV, even fashion. You know, even just now we are into this supermodel thing going on, because it's always when it comes to fashion where we represent something there in terms of the outlook. You know, that means that's what I mean. And yes, again, it's from the heart. You know.
Okay. Well, okay. I am now convinced by Bond or what you have to say. Now, you talk about coming from the heart. That means that there's people, the aspiring fashion designers also have to be nurtured from the very beginning at a very young age. Now, Puan Futom, you are a person who likes to support the young ones. So, what are your plans for MRM in the future in terms of supporting the young ones?
We are now embarking on promoting our young designers, through our collaboration with our international partners all over the world. Yeah. And we have already started with the industrial designers, the graphic designers as well. And coming up will be, of course, fashion designers. We saw that this opportunity will be very timely, and what Raj said about promoting our designers, telling the world how good we are, probably we can also use the same formula that Datuk Jimmy Chua did. And maybe Datuk Jimmy Chua had it made with the late Prince Diana, designing her shoes. And why not probably Bon designing Kate Middleton's wear? And people look at this. People look at these figures. So, Bon, take my challenge, go and do it. You know, you'll be a star. But, you know, everybody will know. Okay, Bon Zainal from Malaysia. What else do you want?
But the story of Jimmy Choo is actually by chance or by luck. The story I heard is that he was just selling his footwear at some place, and late Princess Diana spotted his shoes, and then he got famous instantly after that. But then if Bon were to approach Kate Middleton, that is really, you really have to have the heart and be bold enough to go look out for Kate Middleton, right? So, but Bon, have you been designing for royalties?
Yes and no, basically. I mean, to me, I'm more into the open market, basically.
Okay.
Well, just to let you know, I did design for some of, basically, I don't say high-flying actor or actress in Hollywood, basically. There are some that do wear my things, but in basically, it's more like a subtle way and all that. And yes, that's one of my dreams from Futom and all that. But of course, well, I don't say Kate Middleton. I would like to drive James Bond, basically. You know, it rhymes with my name. All that.
That reminds me of your name, Bond.
Yes,
is that a real name?
Yeah, it is my real name. So I see name, yes. And okay, then again, in fact, surprisingly, if you notice, some of our locals and they did do something abroad. Even yesterday, one of them went to Doha now to do some shows now. Even a few, one of our BD designers being invited by to Russia to do a private show to one of these czar, you know, a private thing when there's no photography, nothing like that. So things are going on, but as yet we need the support here commercially. You know, I mean, they're being called there, supported by them. You know, why not something here that's supported here to go abroad? So these are things that we need to nurture. We need the support. We need people to. I mean, again, people here to, hey, come on, let's do something here, bring it out there. You know, so
you told me the other day that you were in the middle of writing a book.
Okay, yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? I'm interested to find out
it's one of
where is this book
my,
going.
I can say one of my wish list or bucket list, basically. You know that, you know. You know. Now the book is more towards again, it's more like edu fashion thing. I call it edu fashion. It's more to educate, because again and like the young ones, to educate the young ones, because most young ones now they think about fashion, about glamour, about designing for actresses or actor or actresses and all. But for me, I want to go to more to we call it a fashion basic 101. I mean, we have to know where it come from. I mean, so in terms of, for my, we're going to call it Bon Zainal Guide to Mass Dressing or Malaysian Dressing or that, to let people realize about dressing, how important is dressing. You know, how to, the way to and all that. You know, it was even simple as how to wear your tie, you know, the size and the color you choose and all that. You know, so these are the things that we are lack of, basically. So we need to put our foot on the ground, you know, to educate and to go to the next level. Yeah.
Let's have our last question for this evening. We would definitely like to hear from each and every one of you. What would be your message that you want to send out to the fashion designers out there, regardless whether they are studying to be one or they're aspiring or they are already established fashion designers? Let's start with Raj.
Well, it's very simple. Follow your passion, which is the most important thing. As what Bon said, it comes from the heart. But similarly as well, they shouldn't look at it from a one-dimensional point of view, not just from the technical aspects, the designing aspects. Nowadays, you have to look at it from a holistic point of view. Business, marketing, communication, bringing your brand worldwide, you know, rather than just thinking about being a jago kampong, you should think the world is your oyster, and basically perseverance, dedication, and of course, hard work. There's no easy ride, whatever you do in life. Totally, that's right. No easy ride. If you persevere, who knows, you could be the next Datuk Jimmy Choo.
Yeah, never give up.
Never give up,
Yes.
that's right.
Bon.
And for me, instead of just focusing out, focus in now. know your strength. Focus on basic. Know your strength, know your brand. Know what you can do. And again, go further. And then, there's no holds bar there. Like I said again, this industry is the best industry in the world, because you know why? This is the time that you can get to dress people. You can get to be in the best event, rub shoulders with all the creme de la creme and all that. And the best part, you can make money out of it. So again, focus in, and then and go out as much as you can. Yeah.
That's almost similar to don't think out of the box, but think inside you. How can you be a better designer? And then you'll be able to
learn. Yeah.
Great advice. Puan Futom.
I will go for honesty. You do it because you love it. You are sincere about it. And yes, of course, the financial part must come in at the end of the day. Somebody has to put food on the table. But do not shortchange, as I said earlier on. Don't step on others. So just because you want to go up there. That's all my advice to them.
When you are up there, then you also have to know how to sustain your position up there.
Exactly. And they have to be very, very practical. And, the word innovation is everywhere now. Sometimes it's being abused too much. But I still say that you must keep on transforming and transforming and transforming. Do not stay, do not be too laid back. That's all.
Well, there you go. The highlights on fashion from Puan Futom, Sheikh Jaafar, Zainal, and Raj Aria. Highlights on fashion and why it is far more than just a material world, but it's more about the heart and the soul. Nothing glamorous about it, because remember, of all the effort you put in for the past, for probably few months, you're only gonna have a glamorous life for that mere 5 minutes. Thank you to three of you. Thank you, Raj, Bon, and Puan. We have actually come to the end of the show. But before we end it, I have actually a few announcements to make. That now we are on fashion now, and there is one exciting, interesting batik art exhibition that is happening right now at the Malaysia Tourism Centre, called the Flora and Fauna Explorations Through Batik. The coming is actually a collaboration of exhibition on batik art by Khalid Shamsuddin and Pujita Menon. Both are passionate about batik art. And also not to be missed is the Urbanscapes Festival, which is going to be the one of the biggest event that's happening next week on November 23rd and 24th. If you like fashion, there's plenty of things to see, especially people. You got to see how the young people dress these days, and whether this is going to push the fashion industry forward, because these people are really young. I do urge Puan Futom, if you have the time, you got to visit this Urbanscapes, also to see out, find what these youngsters are doing. Now, also is that we are for Designed radio show, we are going to have a special Malay edition of this show next week on the 21st November, whereby we are going to talk, whereby I will be speaking in person with some of the non-music acts from Malaysia. These people are either artists, architects. I do not know yet who they are. It's going to be interesting. On the 21st November, on Thursday at 5:15 in the evening. So we have come to the end of Design for this evening. I feel very grateful to have three guests with me today, this evening. It's been quite an interesting highlight of the fashion industry. Now, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have missed the first beginning of the show, do remember to always get back to our website, that is cutoutmac.com/designed, to find the audio files and snippets on whatever that you want on Design Radio Show. Now, these snippets are produced by Mosho Fixo, the Ideas Agency. This episode is brought to you by Malaysia Design Council, MRM. On that note, I'm Vivian Toh. I will see you next week. This is Designed on Bernama Radio 24.